All right, today, so we have a lot of things to discuss. Apparently, not so much, but very important key things. And as you may know, there is been a lot of tension, or let's say attention, concerning the price or the price action of Bitcoin. We're trying to look at the proper prediction. And as much as I don't like to admit that I can kind of predict the future, I would say it's still going within my prediction, telling you that market is still in a consolidating pattern. And as you can see, if you look at it at the higher time frame here from this, what's it called? This thin line here, you would see that we are having it. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, zoom in. Okay, so see that we are having bigger time frame here and the lower time frame. Oh, that was too much. And the lower time frame around this point, right? See, and it is sitting down just at this point. So we are seeing the consolidating market, and much as some people expected, yeah, contrary to what I thought last week, using this little triangle to determine if we are outside of the bearish pattern already. But as you can see, we had the breakout. But considering this, I think we can still have a little minor market structure at this point. That means it's in the top here. We're having a double top. So that is a proper resistance zone. And next is to determine where the next support is going to be. But looking at the current economic situation going on around the world with a new, or let's say fresh wave of trouble with Iran and US, we can expect more bearish action from this point, right? So it is currently holding at 63,900. Holding this point really pretty strong. I'm very sure if you zoom in on this on a smaller time frame, maybe the 4 hours, the hourly time frame, you realize this is a kind of mini support zone. But that's not where the business is for today. Let's talk about real fundamentals. So yeah, the first fundamental is to understand that I said Bitcoin slides below 65,000 as Iran conflict fails $100 oil and beyond and bond yield such. So the issue now is the fresh conflict between the US and Iran. And I don't know if you have the ears of the US president, please let me tell him, you don't do like begging him through your long, no kill us. We don't try this year. Like sincerely speaking, you think it is over like this, they start another one. Starting from January, person never rest financially this year. Now oil is back to $100 per barrel, and that's crazy because before we had it around 100 plus, I think 120 at peak, but now it is back to this point where it is meant to have gone back to $70 per barrel, and that is actually also affecting Bitcoin. Although in cases like this, I understand that usually used to be an opportunity for risk asset that people take away their investments from their investments, their funds from proper investment or mutual funds, and puts them in risk asset like Bitcoin and gold in times of war. But considering what is happening now, that even Bitcoin is becoming a widely accepted and traded asset that's also affected by economic situations, now is also affecting the price of Bitcoin. As you can see, we have the key point here that several days of Iran escalation are beginning to take their toll on crypto and stock market performance. Right today, I think over either 1 billion or $1 trillion was wiped out from the US stock market just today after Trump's speech concerning the Iran one, the new threat he gave out to Iran. And that's crazy. Everybody is bleeding. SpaceX is bleeding, Tesla is bleeding, Nvidia is bleeding, Microsoft is bleeding, Apple is bleeding. Like, it's just crazy. You look at the whole heat map, it looks like a bloodbath, and that's crazy. So maybe before the end of this video, I'll be able to show you the heat map. So now let's look at it. You said Bitcoin says 3 days lows under 65,000. Traders diverge on the near-term outlook. Remember, I showed you that in the charts before you to understand that. And the 21 days moving average trend line becomes important nearby support. Although the moving average in my own chart here is not 21 days, because I understand that I don't use 21 days moving average. I use some 511 because I trade futures. And if you look at it now, you'll see that the market is actually following the moving average, as you can see. But if I was to use other moving average to confirm this, you would realize that 21 days is actually the next support people are expecting. And now let's also talk about other points in this. So now the Bitcoin wobbles as Iran destabilizes stocks, oil, and US bond yield. So it's just crazy. This is the data of Bitcoin, chart, but like I've showed you already, so we don't need to stay much on this one. So let's move to the next thing. And it is crazy to say that BitMEX is facing another lawsuit. Remember I said yesterday that there has been no proper reason to understand why BitMEX is planning or planned or declared that we're going to shut down by September 23rd. But I feel like now things are beginning to unravel themselves and the truth is beginning to come to limelight, because yesterday they released the memo and said they'll be closing down after a technical overview of their complaint. But look at it now, we are having a new lawsuit filed against the CEO of Hayes, and that is to accuse them of having an insider trader. That is, they claim that they've been you doing a lot of stupid things with people's funds kept in their care, and also that they've been using insider trading. You get more to see more of this. And one thing I also want to mention is the fact that now that this is not the first time BitMEX is going to be faced with such accusation and lawsuits. The last time they were faced with such accusation was 2020, and by that time, the court case was dismissed by 2025 without no ruling, like without a ruling. And that's to say the court or the judge dismissed the case. But now it is really, really coming back. And this time it is very stronger because the person filing this lawsuit, the plaintiff, claimed or threatened to gather much as possible users of BitMEX to prove their point concerning this. Let's get into the real discussion. Right? So cryptocurrency exchange BitMEX might be shutting down, but its legal troubles appear to be far from over. Right? So the lawsuit was filed on the same day that Bitcoin said it is going to shut down in 3 months' time. That is yesterday. The lawsuit has been filed by former tokenization project BKX Services and David Namda. BKX claims it's lost at least 305 Bitcoin through forced liquidation by BitMEX. It's very crazy. We get to talk about this. So, yeah, alleges losses of 222 Bitcoin worth $40.7 million. The legal action comes as BitMEX recently said that it will cease operations on September 23rd, ending its 11 years as a leading crypto derivative platform. This is not the first time BitMEX has faced lawsuits, right? I remember that. And now the new complaint alleges BitMEX and co-founders of Hayes, Ben Delio, and Samuel Reed designed the system to retain customers' collateral and transfer the remaining Bitcoin to the platform insurance fund. That is crazy. If this proves to be true, that's real top level manipulation with people's funds. So the new lawsuit also states that an internal trading desk had access to private customer information and could continue trading during server freezes. That prevented other users from closing positions. So just imagine a situation where which you are trading, you can't get to close your position. Always, because they tell you their server is freezed, right? Whereas they have a private desk that can actually still take trades while you are not able to close your position. That means they are making money off your own shortage or let's say liquidation. So BitMEX allows traders to borrow up to 100 times their collateral and leverage their positions. So the lawsuit, which is seeking to become a class action that could involve other investors, named parent company HD Haro Global Trading and co-founders, has responded. So now they said they want to involve the US customers who bought BitMEX Bitcoin swap products from July 2018 upward. And this is just going to be crazy. I don't think there's going to be any way out for them concerning it. So now let's also talk about the new developments. Like I mentioned, one of the issues affecting Bitcoin right now or these days is the fact that it is becoming a widely accepted asset or let's say token, because many countries are beginning to adopt it into their assets or let's say their financial system. And much as there is a country's involvement or let's say investment tied to it, much as the country's currency goes down, it's also going to affect Bitcoin because that is going to be part of its source of liquidity. So now, and talking about that, we also have to look at it on the bright side that we are having much adoption in this case for cryptocurrency because many more countries are beginning to put out themselves to say they are willing to adopt cryptocurrency. Talking about Russia, US is fighting with their Crypto Clarity Act. Now we have Argentina. Argentina plans to allow mutual funds to invest in Bitcoin and crypto. Also, Japan is on the list. We're going to talk about that. And that's going to be crazy by the year 2018. So, Argentina's government is advancing plans to ease capital market rules and allow mutual investments. Okay, let me just zoom in on this one. Sorry, I have to do that. Mutual investment funds to invest in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, while also permitting virtual assets to be used as collateral. According to O'Daily, the proposal is part of the deregulation bill drafted by Economy Minister Federico Disney and is awaiting President Javier Disney's signature before being sent to Congress. I like respecting people's name. I don't like murdering their name. So those names are very beautiful to pronounce. The draft would allow mutual investment funds to allocate assets to virtual assets and create funds for qualified investors. It also limits the National Security Commission's oversight of mutual funds to legality and technical solvency checks. So while the central bank would exclusively regulate infrastructure for the registration of transfer of crypto and tokenized assets. The proposal would also allow stocks, convertible bonds, and other securities to be issued, stored, and traded through crypto network. I would say this is a very good development and a big bold step for cryptocurrency or the crypto world by Argentina. So now, which is going to lead me to discuss about this because many countries, like I said, are beginning to adopt it. And the next country I list is Japan. And this is crazy because Japan is coming with a slight German to say they're scratching everything. They said they plan to adopt cryptocurrency or Bitcoin ETF to start trading in their country by the year 2028. And $20 billion could be waiting. That's going to be a massive inflow. Well, I understand they are not going to do it at once, but if they should be able to hit this target, price is definitely going to go crazily. I remember what happened in the year 2025 with just two companies, BlackRock and MicroStrategy, pumping money into cryptocurrency through their ETFs. Now imagine you have countries like Argentina, Russia, Japan, many other countries that are working to incorporate or include Bitcoin or cryptocurrency into their financial structure. I will tell you 200k, 180k is possible and achievable for Bitcoin. So this is the time for you to start preaching cryptocurrency, preach it to your neighbors, preach it to your father, your mother, your sister, everybody, and tell them it's a risk asset. So now let's talk about this. So by 2020, Japan could launch its first spot Bitcoin ETF. ETF is exchange traded funds, right? So after completing major crypto law reforms by 2028, analysts estimate Bitcoin ETFs could attract nearly 20 billion in fresh investment by 2028. Major firms like Nomura and SBI are already preparing Bitcoin ETF products before regulatory approval. So Japan's progressive government has officially started preparing for its first Bitcoin ETF after approving a new law that recognizes cryptocurrency as financial assets. I wish Nigeria would do this. For our country and EFCC are always and our SEC are always saying, it's just for money laundering. Is this see countries? We should talk to our CBN governor. And the funny thing is, they actually started on this leg. I don't know why. Few months down the line, they stopped it. I just feel there's something just wrong concerning that. Regulators are now updating investment fund rules. So if everything moves as planned or moves forward as planned, Japan could launch its first crypto or let's say first spot Bitcoin ETF by 2028. So now, I also have to look at it. So earlier cryptocurrencies were mainly treated as payment methods under Japan's payment services. You can use this to pay, but now they want people, allow ETF. So big companies create investors, and if you don't understand ETF, this is what ETF does. So instead of you buying Bitcoin directly and having to understand the whole dynamics of the market to trade with it, you don't have to do that. All you just need to do is find a company, a fund, or a mutual fund investment, or let's say an organization that would allow you buy their shares while they trade or invest the money on Bitcoin. So you are not buying Bitcoin directly, but you are buying from a company that is, that is responsible, that is responsible, that will be held responsible also for your own investment. If Bitcoin goes down the line now, you can't go and fight anybody. But if you don't get your money from this company, don't get your dividends and everything, and carry your gun, go to their CEO's office and say, "What I want, man, with my money?" That kind of thing. So that's what ETF does. That's the problem that ETF solves. So now the new law gives Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and other digital assets as a clearer legal status. See this line. 1, 2, 3. I've been saying it. See this guy. Buy XRP. Buy X. Buy XRP. Buy XRP. Buy Solana too. But buy XRP. I bought XRP. My last purchase of XRP was $0.5 last year. I'm still in profit, right? I'm still in profit. So if you look at that, is using technical term, my realized profits. You understand? So I'm still in profits, but I've claimed I'm in loss, right? Or just buy XRP. I can't overemphasize that. So Japan is also planning to cut crypto taxes from 55% to 20%. Japan, a move many experts believe could bring even more investors into the market. According to the local report, regulators are aiming to launch the country's first spot Bitcoin by the year on Tokyo Stock Exchange by the year 2027 or 2028. So now this is the tweet by Wu Blockchain, and you can get to read more details about that. I'll just say it, Japan, I love you. And I've been thinking about it. Maybe I should go to Japan or just move to Japan. You understand? Good technological driven country. It's fine girls and fine ladies, good scenery. And trade my Bitcoin there. So that's everything we are going to be discussing today, or we are going to talk about today. Don't forget, trade wisely, reduce your risk exposure, stay cool, and always play big. So when next I come your way, make sure before I go, make sure you do what? Like this video. Please like it, share it to your friends, comment if you are learning anything new. And if you love me to continue this everything, let me know. And I'll see you tomorrow. Nigga, what's your what?